My beloved child, there are burdens that do not make you fall immediately, yet quietly drain the strength from you day after day. They do not always appear as a great event that makes you realize you need to stop. Often they come in the form of responsibilities, of things you think you must endure, must worry about, must control, must carry with a strained smile so no one sees your weakness. You smile before others, yet within you there are thoughts running without rest. You lie down, but you do not truly rest. You eat, yet you do not feel nourished. You hear words of comfort, yet your mind remains stretched like a tightened string. I see this, my child. I see the pressures you do not speak of, the worries you hide beneath busyness, the nights when you are silent, while your heart still carries tomorrow upon its shoulders. I did not create you to live forever in a state of being chased by anxiety. The world often calls exhaustion diligence, calls constant tension responsibility, and calls the refusal to rest strength. But I do not call that abundant life. When you live too long under pressure, everything within you begins to lose its rhythm. Your body hears what your mouth tries to deny. Your mind is stretched by things that have not yet happened. Your heart races because of battles that do not yet need to be fought. Calmness is replaced by hurried reactions. Clarity is covered by fatigue. And even small things can make you cry, grow angry, or want to run away. Do not condemn yourself for being weak. Recognize that you have carried too much for too long. There are times when you think you are only worrying in your thoughts, but prolonged pressure does not stop at the level of thought. It enters your breathing, your sleep, the way you eat, the way you respond to loved ones, and the way you hear my voice. When you constantly live in a state of alertness, your inner being becomes like a city whose alarm bells never cease. The delicate systems I placed within your body become disrupted because they are always preparing for danger, even when that danger is only something you imagine, or a burden you have not yet surrendered to me. You need to understand this not so that you will be afraid, but so that you will awaken. Peace is not a luxury. Rest is not a reward after you have become exhausted. Laying things down is not an escape from responsibility. It is the path by which you return to the healthy order I intended for you. You remember the story of Elijah after the day he stood before the people in a moment of great power. People might have thought that after such a great victory, he would be unshakably strong, yet a single threat caused him to flee into the wilderness, weary to the point that he no longer wanted to continue. I did not come to him with harsh reproach. I did not command him to rise immediately in order to prove his faith. I gave him sleep. I gave him food. I allowed him to be restored little by little before speaking to him in a gentle whisper. Do you see, my child? I understand the weariness of those I love. I know there are battles that may have ended outwardly, while inside you are still trembling. I know there are people who have completed many things, yet have forgotten to care for the deepest place within themselves. Therefore, sometimes the holiest thing you need to do is not to strive harder, but to rest in my presence. My child, stop seeing the act of laying things down as failure. To lay something down does not mean you do not care. It means you recognize that you are not the one who holds the universe together. You can love your family without controlling every choice they make. You can work diligently without allowing your work to swallow all your peace. You can plan for the future without living as though tomorrow depends entirely on your own strength. You can carry responsibility without turning yourself into the one who must bear every consequence, every emotion, and every expectation of others. There are things that belong to your part, and there are things that belong to mine. When you try to carry both, you will grow weary. When you learn to discern what is yours and what is mine, you will begin to breathe again. I want you to learn a kind of rest deeper than simply stopping your activity. Some people lie still, yet their hearts keep running. Some leave their desks, yet their thoughts remain chained there. Some travel far away to rest, yet carry the whole storm within them. The rest I give begins when you return and say, "Father, this is too heavy for me." It begins when you no longer pretend that you are fine. It begins when you allow me to touch the fears buried within you. Fear of lack, fear of being left behind, fear of failure, fear of disappointing others, fear that if you do not control everything, all things will fall apart. I am not ashamed of your trembling. I am your father, and a father does not despise his child because that child is tired. I draw near to lift, to untie, and to teach you how to slow down in grace. So look again at the rhythm of your life. What is continually pulling you into a state of tension? What voice makes you feel that you are never enough? What relationship keeps you always on guard? What habit is stealing your sleep, your clarity, and your simple joy? Not every burden comes from a holy duty. Some burdens come from the desire to be recognized, to please too many people, to maintain an image that is not true, to prove that you are stronger than your pain. I invite you to lay each of these things down, not carelessly, but trustingly. Do what you can do in peace, then entrust to me what is beyond your strength. You must also learn to care for your body as a gift entrusted to you. Sleep when it is time to sleep. Eat what is wholesome with gratitude. Step away from the screen when your mind is overloaded. Slow down, breathe, and let the morning light remind you that each day does not need to begin in panic. Say no to the things that are taking life from you, even if they are dressed in the clothing of urgency. Not every invitation must be accepted. Not every argument must be entered. Not every responsibility others place on your shoulders truly belongs to you. When you learn to keep boundaries, you are not being selfish. You are honoring the life I have entrusted to you and preserving your ability to love with greater endurance. Do not forget that balance is not restored by one great decision alone, but by many small returns each day. Every time you pause before reacting, you are returning. Every time you pray instead of panicking, you are returning. Every time you choose rest instead of continuing to strain in order to prove yourself, you are returning. Every time you tell me the truth about what you fear, you are allowing light to enter the place where pressure once ruled. Restoration may be quiet, but it is not powerless. As soil after a dry season needs time to soften beneath the rain, so you also need patience with yourself as I heal the rhythms within you. I have not called you to live in the chains of stress. I have called you to steadiness, where responsibility no longer turns into fear, where diligence no longer becomes self-destruction, where love no longer becomes a bottomless burden. Let me teach you to rest without guilt, to release without feeling that you have failed, to trust without needing to control everything. When you lay pressure at my feet, you will see your heart gradually grow calm. Your thoughts become clearer, your body feel lighter, and your steps become steadier. I do not want you merely to survive the day. I want you to live in the rhythm of peace that belongs to one who knows they are being kept by the Father. Come close to me, breathe slowly, and give me what you have carried for too long. In resting in me, you will recover the strength that pressure has quietly stolen. My beloved child, remember that the battle you are walking through cannot be won by the things human beings often boast in. It is not decided by a louder voice, sharper reasoning, higher status, or stronger endurance. The deepest battles are often unseen by others. They take place where your thoughts are pulled back and forth, where your heart is tested between trust and doubt, between peace and confusion, between truth and lies that are very cleverly disguised. Therefore, I do not give you the fragile tools of this world. I do not tell you to defend yourself with pride. I do not teach you to retaliate with bitterness, and I do not want you to build cold walls to hide your fear. I have prepared for you a covering from above, a sacred armor strong enough for you to stand in the day of fierce winds, strong enough that you will not be struck down by the invisible arrows aimed at your peace. First, You need to understand that the adversary often does not begin with a terrifying roar. He prefers to whisper. He plants a small thought. You are not worthy. Then he adds another. No one truly cares about you. After that, he casts a shadow over your memory, causing you to remember only failure while forgetting grace, to see only wounds while forgetting the hand that once lifted you. If you are not watchful, a small lie can become a large net wrapped around your thoughts. Therefore, the first battlefield you must guard is the place where ideas enter. Do not open the door to every voice simply because it rises within you. Not every thought that appears is truth. Not every strong emotion is guidance. You must bring them under my light, so that what is false may be exposed, and what is true may stand firm. I have given you truth like a belt that holds everything in its proper place. When truth is loosened, you will easily be swept along by emotion, rumor, fear, and hasty conclusions. But when you bind your life with truth, you will not be shaken by the things changing around you. Truth reminds you that you are not defined by old mistakes, not abandoned in seasons of silence, not defeated simply because you are tired. Truth keeps your steps straight when emotion wants to drag you into a detour. Truth also protects you from deception, because there are things that look beautiful, but do not come from me, and there are words that sound sweet, yet lead you away from purity. Love truth, my child, because wherever truth is kept, darkness cannot reign for long. I have also placed righteousness upon you like a garment that shields the deepest part of you from accusation. There will be times when you hear accusing voices telling you that you are not good enough, not strong enough, not holy enough, not worthy enough to come near me. But do not stand before those words by relying on your own works, for your own strength will grow weary. Stand in what I have done for you, in the love that called you home, in the grace that washed what you could not wash by yourself. The righteousness I give does not make you arrogant. It makes you grateful. It does not permit you to live carelessly. It calls you to live with greater dignity. When your heart is protected by what I give, you will no longer allow guilt to lead you, nor allow shame to drive you away from my embrace. And you need the shield of faith, because flaming arrows often come suddenly. It may be news that makes you tremble, a word that wounds you, a delay that makes you doubt the promise, or an old memory that suddenly returns and weakens you. Faith is not pretending that you are not in pain. Faith is when you are in pain and still lift your eyes to me. Faith is not the absence of questions. Faith is when you do not understand everything, yet you still refuse to let go of the one who is leading you. When the arrows of doubt come flying, lift the shield by remembering my faithfulness. Speak to your heart and remind it that I have opened ways before, that I have kept you, healed you, and carried you through what seemed impossible. What I did yesterday is testimony enough for you to stand firm today. I place salvation upon your head like a helmet that guards your thoughts from attacks aimed at your identity. The adversary greatly desires for you to forget whom you belong to. He wants you to live as an orphan, always needing to prove yourself, defend yourself, and find your worth through achievements and the recognition of others. But you are not one without shelter. You are my child. When salvation guards your mind, you will not easily be swept into despair. You will not see one failure as a final sentence. You will not allow one dark season to speak on behalf of your future. Keep your thoughts in the light, for where thoughts are guarded, words are purified, decisions become clearer, and steps become steadier. In your hand, I place the sword of the Spirit, which is the living word that comes from me. This is not an ornament for you to keep upon a shelf, nor merely a beautiful sound during worship. It is a sharp instrument to cut the cords of deception, to separate what is pure from what is false, and to open a path through the fog of confusion. When you are weary, my word lifts you up. When you are tempted, my word shows you the way of escape. When you are accused, my word reminds you of grace. When you do not know where to go, My word becomes the lamp beneath your feet. Do not let a long day pass without allowing my word to touch what is within you. A soldier does not enter battle while leaving his sword behind. Likewise, do not enter a new day with your heart empty before the chaotic voices around you. Remember the story of Jehoshaphat when a vast army came against him, far beyond his power to withstand. The king did not pretend to be strong, nor did he rush to depend on human strategy as his first refuge. He turned to me, called the people to seek me, and in their weakness they were given direction. What was astonishing was that I did not command them to win by displaying their strength, but through trust, through praise going before the army, through standing firm and witnessing my power at work. When they placed me at the center, the confusion of the enemy turned back against itself. Do you see? There are battles you do not win by trying to control every detail, but by standing in your rightful place in me. When you let worship go before fear, when you let trust go before reaction, when you let me lead your steps, victory will open in ways you could not create on your own. Therefore, do not be surprised when some days the battle comes quietly. No one sees you refusing a temptation. No one knows you are resisting the thought of giving up. No one hears the conversation within you when you are being urged to return to an old habit, believe an old lie, or react from an old wound. But I see the moment you choose silence instead of wounding another. I see you open your mouth in prayer, even when your eyes are heavy with weariness. I see you rise to read my word when your heart feels burdened. I see you decide to trust even before any sign has changed. Those choices are not small, my beloved child. They are quiet victories. And from those quiet victories I build enduring strength within you. The shoes of peace have also been placed upon your feet, so that you will not shrink back from the path I have called you to walk. Peace does not mean the road has no sharp stones. Peace means that even when the road is difficult, you know who is walking with you. When your heart is placed in me, you do not need to run after every argument, respond to every attack, or prove yourself before every doubtful gaze. You can walk slowly yet surely, gently yet not weakly, humbly yet without fear. Peace becomes your footprint in a restless world. Wherever you pass, my presence can calm tense places, illumine confused places, and remind others that there is still a way of living that is not ruled by evil. My child, when you are weak, do not see that weakness as failure. See it as an invitation to lean closer to me. When you are confused, do not hurry toward every outside voice. Return first to my word. When you are tired, do not condemn yourself for having no strength left. Pray, even if it is only through a sigh. I do not require you to always appear strong before others. I want you to know how to lean on my strength. I have not left you lacking in this battle. I have given you truth, faith, righteousness, salvation, the living word, and peace. Put on each of these daily, not as an empty ritual, but as the choice of one who knows they are loved, protected, and sent. You are not alone. I go before you to open the way. I am with you to uphold you, and I surround you like a fortress that nothing can pierce when you abide in me. My beloved child, in a world that seems to be moving forward with dazzling speed, I want you to stop and look more deeply at what is happening beneath its shining appearance. You see cities filled with light, voices rising without end, inventions expanding day by day, and promises of comfort and freedom proclaimed everywhere. But if you look only with ordinary eyes, you may easily assume that humanity is becoming stronger, brighter, and more complete. I see what is hidden underneath: weary hearts, thoughts pulled in 100 directions, bodies exhausted by a rhythm of life that no longer knows how to rest, families fractured because of the absence of true presence, and pure desires covered with dust by countless voices of the world. Therefore, what I invite you into is not fear of the pollution around you, but wakefulness, so that it does not quietly shape you. There are things that enter your life very softly, so softly that you do not realize they are changing you little by little. a news update that makes you anxious, an image that makes your heart compare, an eating habit that makes your body heavy, a conversation that confuses your thoughts, a lifestyle praised by the crowd, yet quietly pulling you away from purity. The adversary does not always come in a frightening form. Often he hides in busyness that is applauded, in pleasures that are normalized, in entertainment that seems harmless, in desires given more beautiful names. He does not need you to fall in a single day. He only needs you to grow tired gradually, careless gradually, distracted gradually, distant from my voice gradually, until you can no longer distinguish what is true life from what merely numbs you for a moment. Therefore, I do not call you to a close-to life, ruled by fear, but to discernment in the light. You are still living in this world. You still need to work, eat, communicate, learn, and walk through ordinary days. But you must not allow every wind to pass through you without guarding the door of your heart. Not everything accepted by many people is good. Not everything presented beautifully brings peace. Not everything convenient is beneficial for you. There are things that make you happy in the first moment, but leave emptiness afterward. There are things that make you feel free, yet in truth bind you to a new dependence. I want you to live as one whose eyes are clear, knowing how to choose what nourishes, how to reject what soils the mind, how to step out of currents that cause you to forget whom you belong to. Remember the story of Daniel and his young friends when they were brought into a foreign land, into a palace filled with power, rich food, honor, and a culture that sought to change their names, habits, and identity. They could not immediately leave that circumstance, but they could decide what was allowed to enter their lives. Daniel did not rebel noisily, nor did he despise those around him, but he quietly kept his devotion through one very specific choice. He would not allow the king's table to become an altar in his heart. He chose simplicity, moderation, and faithfulness, and I gave him discernment beyond outward appearance. Do you see? Purity often begins with very practical decisions. What you receive, what you nourish yourself with, what you allow to repeat in your thoughts, and what voice you permit to teach you each day. I know there are times when you grow tired of staying awake in an age that loves to lull people to sleep. From the moment you open your eyes, countless voices pull you in different directions. You want to pray, yet your mind is divided. You want to rest, yet you are driven to keep up with everything. You want to live purely, yet all around you there are so many things making what is wrong appear normal. You want to hear me, yet the noise of the world pushes into every empty space. Even so, my child, do not despair. I do not leave you alone in polluted waters. I give you wisdom to recognize, strength to refuse, grace to begin again, and a path by which to come out. My way of escape is not always a loud miracle. Sometimes it is a small discipline kept each day, a boundary restored, an hour of silence reclaimed, a pure choice made at the table, on the screen, in your words, and in your relationships. Do not forget that what you receive will quietly create the atmosphere within you. If you continually feed yourself with fear, it will be difficult for you to live in peace. If you keep drinking in bitter words, it will be difficult for you to speak gentleness. If your eyes grow accustomed to darkness, it will be difficult for you to recognize the beauty of light. If your body is mistreated by haste, lack of rest, and unhealthy things, you will find it harder to stand firm in your calling. I formed you as a unified work, so what you eat, what you hear, what you watch, what you think, what you say, and what you love all affect your walk. Purity is not a distant idea. It enters into choices that are very near, very ordinary, and very quiet. But be careful that watchfulness does not turn into obsession. I do not want you to look at everything with panic, as though the world were greater than my power. No, my beloved child, darkness may spread widely, but it cannot overcome the light I place in the one who depends on me. Pollution may touch many corners of life, but it cannot steal the protection I give to those who listen. What I teach you is alertness, not fear, discernment, not contempt, separation from what is evil, yet with compassion toward those who are being swept away. You are not called to curse the world from a distance. You are called to live differently within the world, like clear water in a dry land, like a steady lamp in a long night. So begin by returning to the simple things I have placed before you. Keep times of quiet, so your heart may be washed clean from noise. Choose what is good for your body, as a way of honoring the life I have given you. Let truthful words, gratitude, and humility replace the toxic currents of complaint, comparison, and anxiety. Examine what you are allowing to enter through your eyes, your ears, and your daily connections. If anything draws you away from peace, away from purity, away from love for me, have the courage to lay it down. You do not need to cut everything away in one impulsive moment, but you do need to walk in steady obedience, so that each day your life becomes lighter, brighter, and clearer. I will lead you through a path unlike the crowds. Others may not understand why you choose to slow down, why you do not chase every trend, why you refuse some things they consider normal, why you need quiet spaces, why you are careful about what you receive. But you do not live to gain everyone's approval. You live to keep the lamp I entrusted to you from being covered by smoke and dust. You live so that your body, thoughts, and heart may become a place where I can move more freely. You live so that in a world full of distraction, there will still be one who knows how to focus on what is eternal. In an age full of toxins, there will still be one who chooses clean water. Among exhausted lifestyles, there will still be one who walks in my rhythm of rest. Believe that I can keep you pure in an impure place, as I kept Daniel in a foreign palace, as I fed Elijah beside the brook in a day of drought, as I led my people through the wilderness with daily provision. I do not only give warnings, I also give the way forward. I do not only point out danger, I also place before you the source of life. When you listen and surrender, you will not be swallowed by the chaos around you. You will learn to live lighter, brighter, and steadier. You will realize that my protection is not a distant promise, but a hand guiding you in each small choice. Let me draw you away from the currents that are wearing you down and lead you to a cleaner place, where you are restored, guarded, and sent out as a witness of light in this age. There will be times when you feel that you are carrying very heavy responsibilities upon your shoulders, because living as one who bears light is not always easy. You may have to stand alone before a right choice. You may have to speak truth while many choose silence. You may have to leave behind a habit that the crowd considers normal. You may have to keep your heart pure in a place where others mock purity. But my child, do not mistake temporary loneliness for abandonment. I am with you in every quiet decision. I see you when you are not recognized. I hear the prayers no one else knows. I count the times you restrain yourself so as not to wound another. I take note of the seeds you sow in silence. No act of faithfulness before me is meaningless, even if the world passes by without noticing. And remember this also: light does not need to compete with darkness. It only needs to be present. You do not need to live loudly in order to prove that you have been sent. You do not need to force anyone to recognize what I am doing within you. Live truthfully, live purely, live with compassion, and live steadily under my guidance. When you walk with me, the light within you will naturally spread. The weary will find gentleness in you. The confused will see steadiness in you. Those who have lost faith will be reminded that it is still possible to begin again. Sometimes you will not know whom you have touched, but one kind glance, one blessing of peace, one quiet act of help, one uncompromised decision can become a spark carried to another place. Therefore, do not keep asking whether you are great enough, skilled enough, or strong enough. Ask whether today you are faithful with what I have placed in your hand. Ask whether your words bring life. Ask whether your presence makes the room brighter. Ask whether, when others come near you, They can sense peace, honesty, and hope. Your role does not necessarily need to be written through loud achievements. Often, it is written through a steady life, through kindness that does not grow weary, through courage that does not boast, through a heart that returns to me whenever the world makes it restless. I did not entrust light to you so that you would hide it in insecurity, nor did I entrust it to you so that you would exalt yourself above others. I gave it to you so that you might become a sign of my love in this hour. So rise, my beloved child, not with pride, but with gratitude. Tend the flame within you through prayer, through truth, through pure choices, and through staying close to the unfailing source of light that is me. Let your life become a lamp, placed exactly where I desire, not complaining because it is not the sun, and not fearing because the night is still wide. A small lamp in my hand can lead an entire group through a dangerous road. A faithful heart can warm a whole family. A life guided by me can inspire those who no longer know what hope is. Walk with me, and you will see that the light within you not only keeps you from losing your way, but also becomes a gentle invitation for many others to find their way back to life, peace, and my enduring love.